This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back in the studio. Glad to be back in the studio. Seems like it's been forever. You know, I was on the road, like moving around, really moving around, but I'm back in the studio. We're back in effect, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk about last night's game. I didn't get a chance to jump on last night, but I was disappointed. I was on the road disappointed because, we just didn't perform up to par. We didn't perform the way that I expected or thought that we would perform. As a matter of fact, we had a major letdown, and I feel like we really, what I want to say, we felt good about ourselves, 2-0, right? We won in double overtime against the Celtics. We blew out the Orlando Magic. And I think we just kind of felt like, we got this win in the bag. In Orlando, after they were down by 36 points to us, and came back and cut it to, the teens, felt like they could hoop with us. So they came out without having a win after getting blown out by us, desperate to win. And that's exactly what they did. I got my man Josh in the building. We got Andy in the building. Let's talk about this, man. Josh, what's poppin' with you, brother? How you feeling?
Sim, welcome back. Salute the NBK panel. Salute the chat. Salute NBK Nation. Knicks are 2-1. We expected to be 3-0 after that second game of the season, but Orlando definitely had other plans. So they definitely outplayed us a little bit in yesterday's game. It's going to be interesting to talk about what happened and what the Knicks need to do to get better. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no doubt. Andy, what's up, man?
Yeah, what up, Sam? What up, Josh? What up to the chat? Listen, I'm only halfway through the third quarter of the last night's game. So if I know that they lost. I don't know the numbers because your title, because I'm subscribed, Sim, and I get notifications. You spoil it for me. So yeah, but listen, I know we lost, but I'm watching the game, and I'm always, whenever I'm watching, if it's live or it's rewatch, I always try to look and analyze the game on the flow. I have my points, my points of emphasis that I would change that if I was Tibbs. But like Josh said, let's dig into it.
Yeah, let's dig into it. Last night, we lost to Cole Anthony, we lost to Terrance Ross. Let's put it like that. Okay, Cole Anthony last night, 29 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists. He shot 56% from the field. He was 55% from the three-point line. Terrance Ross had 22 points in the fourth quarter alone, I believe it is. 22 points in the fourth quarter. He also had 3 assists. He was 6-11 from the field and 2 for 6 from the three-point line. But our wing defense was exposed last night. Without a doubt, the wing defense was exposed. Josh, is this going to be an issue for the remainder of the season? Because we were definitely exposed last night, and I'm not spotlighting one person. It was the entire defense, the entire wing defense that was exposed, in my opinion. Is this an issue that we're going to have, or is it just this is this game, and we don't have to worry?
I think it's definitely a concern. I won't say an issue, but it is a concern. And I mentioned this in the preseason when our wing defense and our guard defense was absolutely abysmal. Even though we were winning the games, but we still have to find a way to prevent those opposing wings and guards from getting into the paint and from cooking the way they did. Listen, Terrance Ross in the fourth quarter, he was coming off screen after screen, and the Knicks had no answer. It's like, the wings that we have, I'm not going to mention any names, but the wings that we have, just did a poor job of fighting over those screens and stopping Terrance Ross. And we really had no answer for him in the fourth quarter. And I mentioned that it's going to be a problem, particularly, with the fact that our best wing defender we got rid of last season. And we need someone else to step into that role. And right now, after last game, you can't say that we actually know who that person is going to be. We want it to be one particular person, but yesterday that person wasn't there.
You can say his name. You can say his name, Josh. It's okay. You can say his name.
Yeah,
you can say. You can say his name. It's okay. Because it's okay. He's a young guy and he's got to learn how to defend in the NBA. Players like Terrance Ross been in the league for a while. They're going to be able to do their scouting and say, okay, this is how I can take advantage of RJ. One of my concerns with RJ defending the wing position, or not the wing position, but defending guards like Terrance Ross, is can he keep up with them running off screens? That's one of the issues. That's one of the things that I fear. From the time he's coming to the league, I'm not sure if he can keep up with those guys coming off screens and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because that's a tough task for RJ. He's not a speedster. He's not particularly fast. He doesn't jump over everybody, so he's not that kind of athletic. He's strong. He's got good footwork. He's got good basketball IQ. He understands team defense, right? But chasing a guy around may not be his strong suit. And I don't, that's something that he's might have to grow into and work on, and that's okay for him right now at this point in his career. If it's, if it's year 5 and 6 and it's still like, he can't do it, then or he's having trouble with those guys, chasing those guys, then you got to play him on defense someplace else. You know what I mean? But, just because you say his name, I'm not going to smack RJ in the face, because he's got this role this year. This is his third game in this role as possibly being that guy. He wasn't that guy last year. So, one of the reasons why Tom Thibodeau doesn't like to play rookies is why? Answer that question, Josh. What's one of the reasons why Tom Thibodeau doesn't like to play rookies?
Well, experience. Experience on the floor.
It's not just that. It's not just that. There's something very particular that he mentioned.
You tell me.
Rookies have not defended certain players and don't understand. I don't want to say they don't understand, but they don't know the nuances that some players use when they play, right? So they don't understand the speed, okay? They don't understand this guy likes to do this and this guy likes to do that. That's one of the reasons why he doesn't like to play rookies a lot and would rather play veterans, because they've played against these guys. They understand the speed, they understand the strength, and they understand the things that they've got to do to play defense against certain people. Right? So now you're asking RJ to play this role, and he's going to have to make an adjustment and learn how to play that role. And that's cool. That's okay.
Yeah, listen, you said everything that I was going to say. Listen, it's the third game of the season, and we're still looking for that person, that guy to defend the other opposing team's best wing player. We haven't found that guy yet. Not yet.
Yeah. We'll see. Andy, I know you haven't seen the entire game yet.
Yeah, but Sim, just on the Terrance Ross, I'm shocked because I'm halfway through the third quarter and he didn't even take a shot yet in this game. And Breen was like, listen, he was talking to Clyde and he was like, listen, Terrance Ross was 14 minutes on the court and he didn't even attempt a shot. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is suspect. Is he sick or something? Listen, Terrance Ross is a guy that you put in the game and he's, just looking for a shot. Now, he, and on this team, he has to create the shot for himself a little bit more, probably because he's with these young guys and he's that kind of a vet with Robin Lopez, which is, I don't think they're perfect vets for any young team, because I don't think they have the cachet or the leadership skills to be the vets for a young team. But them being the oldest, they just stomped in the position. So and also I'm happy that Josh, mentioned that we lost our best defender. I'm assuming he's talking about Frank, but
no, not quite, Andy, not quite.
Oh boy, the Frank stuff is never gonna stop. It's never gonna
Never.
stop, ladies and gentlemen. It's always gonna be here. That's okay though. I hope he does well out there in Dallas. But anyway, this wing defense is something that could be a thorn in our side for the season. You know what I mean? Especially from that point guard position. So far, Kemba Walker, a little bit iffy on defense over 3 games. If he can defend that one spot. Yeah, I mean, Derrick Rose is a capable defender. He's never been an all-world shutdown type of a guy. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of very good point guards in the league. We got to figure out how we're going to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's something that we definitely need to watch. And I think Tom Thibodeau is probably should be concerned about it. If I'm the coaching staff, I'm concerned about it. Because we're going to win basketball games because we can score the ball. But when it comes down to getting stops, can we get those key stops at those key positions, the point guard and the wing spot? And that's where a lot of your best players in the NBA reside.
Mm-hmm.
At the point guard and the wing spots, Andy, you was about to say something.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is only the 3rd game. But I noticed that both Kemba and Fournier, they step over the screens, like behind the guy. They don't try to fight, to cut off the lane. They just go over the screen and behind the guy and try to chase him back. I saw just literally before we hopped on a play where they put Fournier in a pick and roll, and Julius was the big man behind, right? And he stepped back like a step 2 or 2, and Fournier was running around the screen and around his defender to come up from the other side. And I was like, that dude had to take like 3 steps more, versus the guy with the ball. So I don't think that's going to be a tactic for long, or if they didn't, still get the defense, maybe the talking, the specifications of it, but I don't feel that the kind of defense that they're gonna let these guys go and then chase them around the screens. I don't think that's Tibbs' kind of defense.
Right. All right. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see where this goes from here and the kind of corrections we make going into this Philadelphia game. On one person that believes, look, this is game 3. You're gonna take losses. Every team is gonna take losses to teams that they're not supposed to. And it's all about how you rebound. How do you come back? How do you learn from it? How do you get better and come back and perform the next game? And performing doesn't always mean winning. It just means how do you perform the next game? You could perform very, very well and still lose the basketball game. Right? So it's, I want to see how we rebound from this. And I do think this is a big learning lesson for the team. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, and just to mention, Sim, listen, Tibbs as a coach is one of those coaches that when you think about trap games and those games that you could have a letdown game, he's like the last in the league that you would think that his team is going to allow games like this to happen, right?
Right.
And listen, before like you said yesterday in the chat that you're not going to be able to do, I was like, just put the the pregame show from the first game from the Magic. Listen, this was a totally different game. So we can't underestimate any teams in the NBA. All of these teams have talent, and even the Knicks have to look out for even the weakest teams.
And to piggyback off what Andy said, I know we're talking about, the team actually having a letdown. I don't think the team themselves took the Magic lightly. I don't think that was the case with them. I think the fan base did, and our expectations, going into the second game against the Magic, we're going to beat this team by 30. I know I certainly did. I know a bunch of fans out there did as well. I just think the Magic played better. I think they actually, played with some energy. They out-hustled us to some loose balls or what have you. And they knocked down their shots, and we just didn't. I think that was the story of the game rather than us or the team, the Knicks themselves, having some sort of letdown and taking the Magic for granted. I don't think that was the case.
I disagree. Because I feel like when you start to get beat for loose balls and those things, that is a sign that you're not taking the team seriously. Because when you take a team serious, you're like, you're desperate to get the loose balls. You're desperate to get the rebounds. You're desperate to make those hustle plays because if I don't, this team can bite me. You know what I mean? Which is the reason why the Magic came out and played that much harder. I do think the Magic played harder than the Knicks. And I don't think it's because they're just a team that plays harder than the Knicks. I think it's because the Knicks felt like we don't have to play as hard to beat this team, which when you look at halfway through the first half, I didn't feel like they were playing as hard as the Magic. I felt the Magic were playing way harder than the Knicks were, and the Knicks still built a 13-point lead. And I feel like they got a little bit comfortable saying, you know what? We weren't even playing hard, and we still built a 13-point lead against this team. We're going to beat these guys. And then all of a sudden, in the second half, the Magic were very, very comfortable, very confident, and the Knicks found themselves in the struggle. And the next thing you know, they're down 8-9 points in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't turn it on like maybe they thought they could. That's what I think.
I see where you're coming from, but again, it's easy to look at it from that angle when the Knicks are up by 30 points for the majority of the game in the second game. It's real easy to see, okay, well, this team is not, they're playing much harder, so, maybe this team is having a letdown. But I just feel like Tom Thibodeau will not let the team itself have that sort of mental letdown against any team for that matter. Like Andy was saying, I think he coaches every game in the regular season to the end, and I think that he definitely put that message out there to his players. Now, you can say maybe they didn't take the message the right way. You can make that argument. Maybe that is the case, but I just really feel like the Magic just they played with more energy. Their legs a little bit more looser. They're younger guys, a young team. I think they're hungry, and I think that's the reason. We miss shots. That's the reason why we lost the game.
Definitely, we miss shots. That's without a doubt. We miss shots, but I still could just see it in the body language when, they were up 13. Not that they had bad body language, just the way that they were playing. It didn't feel like there was any desperation to the way that they were playing the game, and feeling that they could take this team out at any time. And, a lot of times if you don't have rhythm in your offense, you don't have rhythm in your shot, you can't just get it like that. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully they didn't. Tom Thibodeau can only do so much. All he can do is say it, right? The players, how many times, have your father or mother told you something and in your mind you're like, all right, whatever, I know what I'm doing. And then what they said turns out to be right, and you're like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it could have been something like that. We'll see. We'll see how they respond. You know what I mean? I want to listen to Tom Thibodeau. We'll let some people into the chat. I want to listen to Tom Thibodeau, and this is an interview from this morning after practice. And hear what he's talking about. All right? This is Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey. Yeah, he's doing more, so we'll see how he feels tomorrow. He's getting closer. He's feeling a lot better.
Possible that he goes tomorrow?
I believe so, but it's 50-50. So.
Yesterday, did you see anything different than you thought after the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, you see a lot, so it's like in every game, you have to learn from what happened, and so there's some good things, some things obviously that we have to do a lot better, and then try to make your corrections and get ready for the next one. So we watched a lot of film, took that in, worked on a couple things, and we have to get ready for tomorrow's game.
How did you guys work on? Mitch talks a lot about how one of the things he wants to improve on is just kind of his positional defense, communication, all that stuff. When he's out with injury, he can't be on the court for as long as he was. How do you guys as coaching staff work with him on those sorts of mental and reading aspects?
Well, you have film, and you have the games that he played in from last year. So you can show him the things that he did well, the things that, you would like to do better. And then we also have teaching tapes on what we're trying to get accomplished. And so I think having gone through it, he has a much better understanding now. He's still obviously working on his conditioning, but he can have great impact on the game defensively and offensively for that matter.
Your group last year, every time they hit a little bit of a skid, it seemed like they bounced back, reel off a bunch of wins. Every team is different, but you see this game as kind of like a test of their resilience in that way, or maybe too much of it?
Well, the games reveal, where you are. And so, there's ebbs and flows to a season, and so there's the disappointment of a loss, and sometimes things can slide when you're winning some games. And so usually when something like this happens, after a loss, you tend to focus in on the things that need to be corrected more. And yeah, I think there's an understanding of what goes into winning and what goes into losing are things that you can't control. Like we know, for the most part, our defense and our rebounding and keeping our turnovers down, that's a must. And that if we're consistent with that, we'll be in position to win. The shooting piece of it, there's going to be some nights we shoot it great, some nights not as well as others, but we still have to have the ability to win the game. And guys have to develop an understanding that you can play well without shooting well. There's so many other aspects of the game that you can do to help your team. And so I think, we'll continue to work on it. And obviously we have to get a lot better. And that's what the focus has always been, is daily improvement. Just come in, concentrate on the things we're focused on, get better, and get ready for the next one.
RJ was just in here and was talking about, adjusting for him personally, to a new role this year a little bit. And last year, he struggled at the beginning of last year, ended up having a spectacular year. Is he a guy that just takes a little while to make an adjustment? I mean, everybody.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about RJ. He's a terrific player. And there's going to be like some ups and downs, and we have to figure things out and get better. But I think he has confidence in who he is, and it's come from his preparation, which is important. And we are asking him to do more this year. So, but I think he's ready for that challenge. I think he's gotten a lot better. And as a team, we didn't shoot it well yesterday. So, obviously, I think we're a pretty good offensive team. And some nights it doesn't go in, and you have to give them credit. I thought they played excellent defense. And so, we have to get ready for the next one.
When you play at the pace that you're playing at, your offense, does that you just have to learn how to adjust that on the defensive end because you're playing so fast?
Yeah, like I always feel like the players that you have are going to dictate the pace. Like sometimes it might be a slower pace, could be a medium pace, could be a fast pace. I like the depth of our team. I like the skill level of our team. So I want to try to take advantage of that as much as we can. And when we play the way we're capable of playing and we make the right reads, we're going to score a lot of points.
The weight that Mitch put on over the summer, how have you seen that affect him on the court?
Well, he's a lot stronger, so I think that holding his ground, it's better. I think that he's been out a long period of time, so I think some of that weight will come off as we go along here. But for the most part, he put a lot of time into the weight room, and so I think that's good. And I think there's a natural maturation that he's going through as he gets older. In his experiences, he's gotten stronger as his body is developed, and also having the knowledge of who he's going against. You play against someone 5 times, it'll be different than your 20th time. So I think that's where he's at now.
When you come off a game like last night where the effort and energy is kind of concerned, how do you address that? Is that more film session highlighting that, or is it tougher practice?
Yeah, no, it's just, it's matter of fact, just, our players are we have great players in terms of how they focus each and every day. So we knew we didn't play well. And so look at the film. We always start with ourselves, start with the coaches, the players. What can we do better? And then you turn that into the team. And so everyone has the responsibility of taking care of the team. And so when you look at it, and there are little things that, from a communication standpoint, from pointing, talking, that doesn't require talent. That requires commitment. And so those are little things that we could do better.
What do you think of the ball movement last night in particular?
Yeah, and we talked about it, is like I felt it could have been better, but after watching the film, right, we grade each shot, and so when a guy's rising up and there's no one within 5 feet of him, and there's been a skip pass to the weak side, you miss the shot. As long as they shoot it good and it's their shot, and sometimes you can make a shot that's heavily challenged, and people think, oh, that's a good shot. Maybe it's not. And sometimes when you miss an open shot, you missed an open shot, but I want us to have the belief that we can still win if we're not shooting well.
You're pretty satisfied.
Yeah, like I said, after watching the film and seeing the shots that we got on the backside, I felt we got good shots.
What about attacking the basket? Attacking the basket, don't take in your book.
Yeah, I thought there were more opportunities to do that, and that was something that we can do better,
Next question.
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Coach Tom Thibodeau. Andy, anything you heard there that you want to comment on?
Listen, I still didn't see the fourth quarter. I'm assuming that a couple of stuff was going to happen there that didn't happen the first half. So, that might be the trick that I'm not, seeing and hearing and feeling what Tibbs said exactly. For me, it's exactly a thing that he didn't mention because he doesn't want to throw his probably best player under the bus at this point of the season. Because I felt after the third quarter, I think Julius took it upon himself a little bit too much. Tibbs is praising that ball movement, that we had open shots and stuff like that. I really felt that Julius was taking several plays in a row and playing ISO and didn't pass the ball out for the guys. So that would be my kind of, point of emphasis while watching the videos and the tapes for the next day, because it's easily, noticeable. I understand though, Tibbs, that he doesn't want to throw Randall on the bus at game 3.
and I feel like in all 3 games, honestly, I feel like Randall's been a little bit too ISO heavy in all 3 games.
He has like those spans, right? He's like he's playing, team ball, and then comes a minute or two. He's like, let me get the ball. And if it's going, nobody's gonna say a word, right? But
see,
listen,
I feel like Randall is trying really hard to step up to the next level and pick times when, okay, it's time for me to take the game upon myself and things like that. And he's just got to let it flow to him and come to him and make better decisions when he's got the basketball. I feel like he's trying to do that. Similar to when his first year with the Knicks, when he was trying to be the man. I feel like he's doing the same thing. I feel like he's trying to step up and go to another level where, he's got to kind of let it come to him and flow to him and, possibly, it'll happen. I think he's forcing it a little bit too much right now, and trying to be that guy. We'll see how it plays out from here and, whether, Tom Thibodeau and the coaching staff is able to say, hey, let's let the game come to you. Let the game come to you a little bit more, and not be so forceful with it. That was one thing that, I talked about in the beginning of the season, along with him raising his basketball IQ, was I felt even last year, he had to force plays. He tried to force plays to happen, right? And last year was a little bit different. You had less offensive options on the floor. You know what I mean? He doesn't really have to do that this year. He can let the game flow a little more naturally, I think. We'll see if it's something that he learns throughout the year. But I do feel like he's been forcing it a little bit. Josh, I see you shaking your head. Then I'm going to get to Guillermo, who just joined us.
Well, listen, believe it or not, the Knicks are running more ISO than they did last season through 3 games. The percentage of their offense, they're running almost 10% of isolation plays compared to 8.5 last season. The difference is the Knicks are scoring more through isolation now than they did last season, right? So I think isolation is effective. I do agree that, sometimes Julius Randle can overdo it. But again, when there's a mismatch out there, he can take advantage of that. And that's easy points for us. And I do understand what you're saying, Tim, about letting it flow naturally and letting it come to him. But at the same time, no one else is knocking down shots. I personally felt like Julius Randle needed to take more isolation plays to try to get something going, because there was open opportunities. Tom Thibodeau mentioned it. Open opportunities, if you're not going to knock down shots, you got to be able to win the game some way, somehow.
But he wasn't knocking down shots last night. He shot 33% from the field. He wasn't knocking down shots.
I understand that was at the end of the game. I'm talking about throughout the flow of the game. Whenever your shots are not falling, you got to depend on your best players to get you back in the game. And also, what Thibodeau said that I really liked, to reiterate, was that even though your shots are not falling, you still got to be able to win the game in other ways. And I felt like offense is not our issue. I feel like our issue, honestly, is defense. Wing defense and guard defense. If we're able to stop Orlando and prevent them from knocking down some of their shots, I believe we still win the game. Okay. But
all right, let me get to this caller real quick, then I'm going to get to Gmail. Caller, you're live. What's popping with you?
Hey, Sam, what's popping, man?
Julito, what's going on, man?
Goody, well, shout out to the chat, Josh, Andy. I'm not even sure who that is on the bottom.
That's Gmo. That's Gmo. Well. That's Gmo.
Oh, that's Gmo?
Yeah.
Oh, Gmo, what's up, my boy? Okay. Pause yourself. You ain't got the MF Doom mask on, so I couldn't realize that was you. But yeah, I just want to check in, man, because I haven't called in since the season started. I want to say, Sam, excellent job with the events you put together opening night. I know that's not what we're talking about. I just wanted to give you your praise on that.
Appreciate it, man.
And if we're going to talk about this Magic game, for me, I'm really excited and happy that we got our asses embarrassed, because I think it's necessary. I think it brings us all down, even as a fan base. I think, even with myself, right, jumping out the window, right? Like, I think there was points where we got a little too high. And granted, right, if you've been a Knicks fan for 10 years plus, you deserve everything that's happening right now. At the same time, we needed to be brought back to earth. And I think it's a perfect time for us to be brought back to earth before we go on this, this quick little 2-game trip. Not trip, but this 2-game span where we're about to play some really competitive teams, man. And, we didn't play our greatest against Orlando. We didn't have the effort that was needed. I think we had effort, but it wasn't the effort that was needed to pull out a game against a team in the back-to-back where, it's something that a lot of people aren't speaking about. It is highly common for, no matter what the team is, for teams to lose the second game after winning the first in a back-to-back against the same team. So if you look at the history of NBA, I believe like 80% of the teams do not win that second game, right? So against a hungry team who, not saying, this is Jamal Mosley's first year as the Orlando head coach, but you lose 2 games in an embarrassment like that, they got their eye on you, that GM over there, that president over there, right? So This game was a must-win for Orlando, and I think it was just extremely too many isolation basketball, man. We went from, I believe, close to 40 assists in the first Magic game to we only had 18 assists.
Yeah.
18, right? And that's highly unacceptable for a team that we're going to, our shooting is going to be, our safeguard, of course, defense. But I think it's the playmaking ability from everyone on the team is going to be necessary for us to be a good team in this league. So I'm not stressing over it. I'm not willing to trade anybody. I don't think, I'm not even looking at Kimber yet and saying, like, giving him the side eye. I think it's just we need to relax. We need to calm down. It's game 3 out of 82. 3 out of 82. Let's relax. I wasn't listening to the show prior to me calling in, so I'm not sure where you guys were going with it. But I did just want to offer that. And again, shout out to you, Sim, for an amazing event you put on, and shout out to the panel in the chat.
Appreciate you, man, and thank you for being there too, and invite me to the celebrity game. That was dope. And for those who weren't there or didn't see it, Julito went off in the celebrity game. He went off. I don't know what you had, like 14, 15 points or something like that.
14 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's counting though? You know what I mean? Who's counting?
Yeah. Now, you were right on, because we were just talking about the isolation play and Julius Randle maybe trying to force his way to the next level instead of letting it come to him a little bit,
If we look at, Julius, and if we look at RJ, and honestly, if you even look at Kemba, this is usually their MO, Sam. This is how they start their seasons. Julius with a new team, with him being the guy again. If y'all don't remember, we started last season 0-2, and Julius was doing the same exact stuff. RJ Barrett, he starts like this. It's only his third season, but this is how he starts. RJ Barrett he has to figure it out, and Kemba as well. And I think with the Julius Randle piece of it is the fact that when you're a number one guy, and especially playing with new people, you have to figure out your offense again. You just have to. I just feel like Julius needs to stop trying to be Batman and understand that this is the X-Men. There is no one guy. You do not need to be Superman, okay? You are a part of a conglomerate now. Relax. Pass that ball because he's an amazing playmaker. I understand you're part of a team, and I think we're going to be. I believe we're going to beat Philadelphia and we're going to beat Chicago. Okay. I really feel great about those two games.
Okay, all right. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till tomorrow night, man. Because I think last night was a little bit of a wake up call. Like, yo, you guys are not there yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not there.
And we needed it, as I said
lesson.
before, but I don't want to stay on too long. But as I said before, we needed a win like this.
Yeah.
A loss like that.
I agree.
We needed a loss like that against a team like the Orlando Magic. Even if we would have lost to the 76ers or the Bulls in this capacity, I don't think it would have put that fire under us like we needed. To me, this is like the loss we had last season against, I believe it was the Pelicans when they came to our home. Or if it wasn't the Pelicans, I believe maybe it was it was that Mavericks loss. That Mavericks loss. It was a few weeks before we played them again and we demolished them. It was a few weeks before we went on that 9-game winning streak. We needed a loss that kind of embarrassed us and stung a little bit. So now we understand that, it's game time. No team is to slouch. No team is a G League team for real. I mean, if you're in the NBA court, that means you're one of the best 400 players in the world, right? Like every team they can win at any given night. So I'm just happy. If you look at every team, right? If you look at all of the guys that they're saying are going to go to the championship, they all started out sluggish. The Bucks got they ass handed to them. Brooklyn just lost their home opener,
Charlotte,
right? And the Lakers is Charlotte, right? Like the Lakers
they wilding out. They fighting each other.
Lakers are gangbangers. They're gangbangers over there, man. I don't know what's going on. They're gangbangers over there. They need to relax.
Word, they bugging.
You know what I mean? So I think we cool. I'm sure that everybody's a little more chill now. But yesterday, every show I was watching, man, I'm like, oh, comment section is nuts.
Yo, I went into I was driving back home last night and I seen it, the comment section on Twitter. Everybody was bugging. I was like, oh my gosh, people wilding out. They going crazy.
Doing entirely too much.
Yeah, people was bugging,
Relax,
man.
Y'all.
Yeah. Hey, Julito, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the time, bro.
I'm gonna come on after tomorrow's game. I'll be on with y'all at the post game.
All right, bet.
There we go. Love.
All right,
love.
peace.
See y'all
Peace.
soon.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, like it or not, and people are going to say, oh, Sim, you bugging, you crazy. But, I mean, when you look at the rotations that Tibbs was playing, I mean, the Knicks won 6 games, right? If you're looking at the preseason, because Tom Thibodeau was playing them all like they were regular season games. You know what I mean? And, maybe they were due. Maybe they got too beside themselves a little bit. I tend to think they got too beside themselves, and maybe this is a good wake up call for them. G-Mo, what's popping, man? Hold on. I think you muted. Mike is muted. There we go.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Salute. How everybody doing?
Good, man. I'm good.
Yesterday's game was a wake up call, man. I would say any team that has athletic guards, who can actually shoot a little bit are going to challenge us because our backcourt defense is kind of trash. No offense. Kemba Walker's knee is just never going to be 100%. He played, 18, 19 minutes yesterday. Guys are missing their assignments. And it's like, I know the defense is the so-called help defense, but it's like it's a bend don't break kind of defense. But if you keep going through the backcourt and the backcourt provides little resistance, I mean, how much more can Mitch, can Randall, can all those guys, take before the defense just
Right.
can't hold up? So.
Right.
And they, Tom Thibodeau, again, this is another year for Tom Thibodeau to grow too. I know he's 60, 66, 67, however he may be, but this is a year for him to grow because the two games, the Celtics game and the Magic game, with Julius Randle, he panicked in the sense where he kind of used Julius Randle, at least in the Magic game, to kind of slow down the pace, right? The Magic just kept, their guards and just pushing the pace, transition. RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony, even Suggs kind of got hot. I think it was in the third quarter, and they're kind of pushing the pace against us. And then Tom Thibodeau just kind of, did the whole, all right, let's just get it to Randall, get ISO play going, try to draw fouls, which worked in the Celtics game, but it didn't work here as much. And I think that Tom Thibodeau, he panicked. If you watch the preseason, the guy was running a whole bunch of things. He was running Spain pick and roll. He was running variations of forms. He was running motion offense. You know what I mean? And then this game is just like, nah, let's just run ISO horns and see where it goes from there. So this is a big season. Now, the offense, I think, is going to be a lot better. I'm not really concerned with that as much, but the defense itself, I'm happy that we don't have Payne and, that combination of Payne and Bullock, but the defense is going to take a hit. And I'm not saying that the Magic game is an omen, but you're going to see some teams that we should have beaten or should beat. They're going to challenge us just because I think our backcourt is going to be the so-called weak spot of
Yeah,
of our defense.
I think it's definitely going to be the weak spot of the defense. I think, when we're talking about the variation in the offense, I don't know what Tibbs has taught the team and what they've been working on, but I'm putting a lot of it on the players on the floor because when you got a veteran point guard, I feel like the veteran point guard. You got Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose out there. They're supposed to know how to get it done with your team and put people in the right spot. It's only so much that the coach can do from the sideline. You can call a timeout. You can tell them, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. You can work on it in practice. But when it comes down to it, your players on the floor got to implement it on the floor. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So
but
I'm putting it on those veteran players to get it done.
When you just dump it to Randall and tell him to go ISO, right? I mean, I'm not sure that's the.
But is that Tom or is that Randall saying, give me the ball? Or is it Kemba saying, I'm going to go to Randall? I mean,
it's a mixture of both because Tom didn't run adjustments against the Hawks last season, in the playoffs, right? It was the same, hey, get us out of this, play at the top of the key from the wing, and then create from there. So Tom Thibodeau's at fault too. Randall is at two. So here's the thing. I like what Randall did in that one play. I know it was RJ. People say I'm being biased, but he ran a little I won't say decoy play, but it was a nice little give and go. And if you watch that play, we should have been running a lot more of that. Randall, he doesn't run pick and roll. I'm not saying it's Tibbs around. I don't know who it is. We don't run enough of that with him. Randall, even as a pick and roll ball handler where he's using a guy like Mitch, we don't run that with Randall, despite the fact that if you look around the league, Kevin Love, all these big guys in the league, even freaking I think Jokic even ran a few games ago. We don't run enough with Randall where Randall may not be the so-called guy on offense per se, where he's it's just him ISO and scoring. But we don't run enough with him being kind of like I don't want to say a decoy, but where he can kind of draw the defense in. At least early on, we did it last year. I understand the post up, but we have so many weapons now. I like to see a little bit more pick and roll Randall. I like to see him draw the defenses in. Him having that little 2-man game with RJ. He does it with Fournier, which has worked so far. But I just got to see Randall being used in more ways than just ISO and then a few post-ups here and there. I think the league is calling up. And they have the book on what the Knicks want to do when we run into trouble. And I think that Tom Thibodeau has to trust his weapons. Like Fournier wasn't even in the game. What was it, like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter? He wasn't in the game.
It was deep into the fourth quarter, and Burks was in there, and Fournier wasn't in the game. I was surprised. I was like, wait a minute, why is Burks out there? See, those are the things that I can look at, Tom, and say, okay, those type of little rotations. If you're seeing too much ISO calling a timeout, I thought he did it good against Boston, right? There was a lot of ISO going on just to Randall. He called a timeout, and we see Fournier get a back door, right? And then all of a sudden we started going to Fournier a little bit more throughout the game. I'm looking at the players on the floor to have to make those adjustments, especially when you got veteran guards out there on the floor, man, like veteran point guards out there. I think I mean, and maybe Kemba just isn't as comfortable with the team yet, and has to learn the in and outs of each player and what they do, and we'll start to see him do that a little bit more. I'm not even worried about the point production from Kemba Walker and all of that. I expected him to come in and be a facilitator this year anyway. I didn't think he was going to be scoring 20 points a game. I expected him, and I don't mean facilitator as far as getting assists. I'm not worried about getting assists.
You mean like a playmaker?
Just more of really running the team, running the offense, trying to do what Tom Thibodeau wants, but he doesn't have that same familiarity with Tom Thibodeau right now, which is probably a big reason why you're seeing Tom go with Rose more than Kemba Walker down the stretch. Plus, Rose is bigger and probably a better defender.
So what about when the Magic were running zone against us? How many times outside of RJ Flash at the foul line, why was Randall? Now I don't know if it's a Tibbs thing, I don't know if it's a Randall thing, but why the hell was Randall playing on the outside when we needed him to catch the ball at the foul line, draw the defenses in, and then kick it out to the open guy?
So there was no adjustment. I think that's what messed us up in the last game. Like that, there was no adjustment, offensively speaking, for us. I think when Orlando threw that zone at us, we really had no answer for it. And I agree, Randall was supposed to, Tibbs was supposed to make an adjustment or have Randall do something different, like catch the ball at the foul line and try to get other people open. And that didn't happen. So if you want to, if people want to criticize the offense for that and criticize Thibodeau for that, I absolutely agree with you. But at the same time, there was still times throughout the game where the ball was moving and we got open opportunities and we just flat out missed them. Burks, air balls, Fournier, a couple air balls in the game yesterday. RJ missing. Everyone was just missing. So again, I think that if we knocked down those shots yesterday, I think that we're not having a lot of these conversations because the Knicks will score 120 points, but we just missed the shots flat out. I don't think it was anything to really dive deep into the offense, like, the nuances of it too much. I just think that that's pretty much what it came down to. And if we hit those shots, we win the game easily. But I agree with you guys, though. I think that there is some adjustments that need to be made, particularly when the team does throw us on that.
And I guess on both sides, the players got to do it on the floor. Tom Thibodeau, has got to be able to notice some things and make those adjustments. Plus, especially do it in practice, right, and emphasize it in practice. And then, but the issue is if guys like Randall or Kemba or Fournier, and I'm not spotlighting anyone right now. I'm just saying. Tom Thibodeau can go over anything he wants and drill it and drill it and drill it. And if they get on the floor and decide that I'm going to do something else, it's not that much he can do. You can put Randall on the bench, but you're not putting your best player on the bench. You can put RJ on the bench and say you didn't do what I wanted you to do, but he's not putting RJ on the bench, right? Because then who else is coming into play that's going to have the same kind of impact? So, and I'm not saying anything bad about the players right now. I'm just saying, I guess we got to see if the players start to learn each other and learn the nuances of one another and understand, okay, we got to make this adjustment and then see it happen in the game. Let me get to Andy, then I'm going to get to the caller on the phone. Andy, go ahead.
Yes, my question about the practices and Randall. You guys think that Randall goes so heavy ISO in the practices as he goes in games?
No. Why they need to?
Probably not. It's hard to say. I don't know. Who knows? You just don't know what Tom Thibodeau is telling guys to do or not to do.
I'm going to tell you if Randall was doing that in practice, if I'm Tibbs, I'm saying just go in, like crowd him and foul him. Foul the crap out of him so he forgets how to play ISO ball in practices at least.
No.
I mean, it's just because like with the Boston game, I felt like that was part of the game plan. Let Randall go. I really did. I felt like that was part of the game plan.
I mean, yeah, because their front court was only Robert Williams, right?
Yeah,
Grant Williams, Grant and Robert Williams.
Yeah, right. Because they're small,
6'8" guys. So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but the ISO thing, I just feel like Tom Thibodeau, he just is like I don't say he cowers, but it's like he just goes into the shell where it's like I just give it to Randall. And when you guys talk about the elite guys, like I'm not itching on Randall, but I'm not sure Randall is that type of guy where even if he's having a bad game, I could put the ball in his hands and he's making the right decisions. Like he's like I always put Jokic as like the top center where it's just IQ and skill matched together. Like I could give it to Jokic who had a bad first half. Jokic might end the game with like say 20 points, but he's facilitating. He's staying at the foul line. He knows how to pick the weak spots of the defense. He knows when to get in the low post, when to play in the high post. And Randall, I don't know if he's ever going to get it. Hopefully he does, but I'm not sure that mentally he's just not there yet. And granted, we could have lost the game. He could have done everything right, and we still could have lost the game yesterday. I'm just saying, overall, I just feel like I'm not sure if Randall's in the position where Tom Thibodeau's, I guess, coaching him or putting like making sure you see this in the game, blah, blah, they're doing this, run this versus trying to get your own. And granted, yesterday, the Celtics, it worked. Yesterday, you saw him kind of like force some really bad shots. He got blocked on one, and I'm just like, the one we took the foul, the one on the post or the freaking foul line. Like, what? That's a terrible shot. And this is what in the third quarter. Yeah. Like those are just low IQ, like really low IQ plays. So I don't know if it's Randall or if it's Tibbs, but
I mean, I think right now Randall is just forcing and pushing the issue a little bit, trying to prove that he's an all NBA guy, trying to force himself to go to the next level when I think he's just got to take a step back and see the game a little bit differently. That's what I think. I do have a question I want to ask after I get to the caller, though. Caller, you're live. What's popping? What's your name? Where you from?
What's good, Simmons? AK, what's good, homie?
What's good, AK? How you feeling, bro?
I'm all right, man. I'm cool. Yo, I was at the game on Friday in Orlando. You know, I'm out here.
Okay.
And I noticed the third quarter, Knicks were looking good. They broke the record with the threes, you know what I'm saying? But the third quarter in that game, their backcourt does slip a little bit. As I asked for last year when I spoke to you, we needed a shooter and we needed a point guard. I knew we wasn't going to get no defense, but we still need it. I think the backcourt, we ain't going to be like the Bullock and I don't want to say his name, but I think we good, though. I think we good. You know who they remind me of, Sam?
Who's that?
I'm not going on a rant like your man Evergreen with the championship. I ain't saying that. But they remind me of that Dallas 2011 team.
Okay.
Jason Kidd, Dirk.
I don't know if they got the same IQ as that. I don't know if they have the same IQ as that team.
No.
You got Nurk. You got Dirk, Jason Kidd. That's some high level basketball on the floor.
Yeah,
as far
that's basketball.
Basketball IQ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as having like weapons all over the floor, and being able to score from different angles and spots on the floor, we definitely have that. I don't know. When you look at this team, our Achilles heel, I think, is going to be the defense from the wing spot. You know what I'm saying? I think we can work out the isolation stuff. I think the Achilles heel is going to be the defense from the wing spot.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think,
that's the biggest why you don't throw in just for 5 minutes? Put a McBride in. Why Rose is doing 27 minutes? Why you can't throw for 5 minutes?
He don't trust him yet. We right from the beginning of the show. That's what we talked about. I asked Josh. What is the one thing that Tom Thibodeau said? The reason why he doesn't play young guys a lot is the trust. Not that he can't play defense. It's the trust. It's the familiarity with his opponents and things like that. Eventually, he's going to get out there, though. But I think he's going to get out there. Tom Thibodeau, he goes with familiarity. That's Tom. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tom got trust issues.
For real.
His puppy.
That's ever since back in the day.
Yeah, his puppy ran away when he was young. You know what I mean? You don't trust him.
It hurt your heart.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. But, yeah. AK, man, I appreciate the time, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. I can get over to your chat, piece of the chat. Your piece game one.
Peace. So what I wanted to ask, and big shout out to AK for the call in. What I wanted to ask is, Gmo, you were saying, about, Tom, like panicking a little bit, like, oh, just throw it to Julius, right? And most teams, they throw it to their best player when the defense gets really tough, and because when the defense gets really tough, you're not finding cutters.
The game slows down.
Right. The game really does slow down. It gets physical. Do we have anyone better to throw it to try to get the job done? Because even though, and he may not be creating, all the shots and this and that, he was 12 for 14 from the free throw line. He's getting to the line. He did grab 16 rebounds. So he's He's giving you other things, obviously, besides scoring. Well, free throws is scoring. He's giving you other things besides scoring. He did have 4 blocks last night. But if you do throw it to him, it's a good chance that you might get to the line or he's going to create something else for somebody else. I mean,
so when you look at Julius Randle, right? Like, it's also when Tom Thibodeau does it. Like, if you're talking about in the fourth quarter of games to close us out, obviously he's our best player. And you've seen games where Julius Randle just was white hot and for the whole game, maybe slows down a little bit in the fourth, but he's still a guy you dump it to, right? But, when you compare some of these other guys in the league, again, people are going to kill me for this, but Julius Randle, I watch, and we all watch. I'm not saying you guys don't. Obviously, you guys watch him, but you watch the Devin Bookers, you watch, the KD. There's a level that some of those guys like. Relatively speaking, Julius Randle's our best player, but just doing that in the middle of the game, second, third quarter, when we're kind of, looking for points and just dump it to him and he's not hitting those shots, I'm not sure if he's that type of player to kind of carry us out of an offensive funk. So, if this is the fourth quarter of games, if it's close, fair enough. I mean, that's your best player. And even sometimes to try to slow down the tempo, I get it, to draw fouls, kind of get the opposing team to stop them on their runs. I get it. But, is there a second guy? Obviously not. But I think that we have enough plays, we have enough shooters to space the floor that we shouldn't have to panic and go to ISO play so early in games. That's really just my gripe. Now, if you want to do it in the fourth quarter, that's fine. But our gripe is just when you do it.
Yeah, I guess, it's tough. I think it's tough because it's early in the season, because against Boston, we were down 11. And I think second or third quarter, they went to second quarter, they went to Julius Randle. And he brought us back. They did. They went ISO to Julius Randle, and he brought us back. When you look at this game against Orlando, obviously he was not hitting. He shot 33% from the field. But in the fourth quarter, it was Derrick Rose who took most of the shots. Derrick Rose took 9 shots in the fourth quarter, Randle 7, and RJ took 7 shots in the fourth quarter. But I mean, obviously he's been, playing some ISO stuff. We'll have to see how it works out. How it goes down. It's going to be interesting to see how Tom Thibodeau works it, and it's the first few games of the season, and while they did, they played in the preseason and all of that, when you get real NBA defense on you, things change. Like Tyson said, everything you got to play until you get punched in the mouth, and then your plan changes. You know what I mean? So I guess we'll see exactly how things change with this team. One thing that I did notice with Orlando, and I think other teams might say, hey, this is a blueprint. They played physical against us, I thought. And I didn't think we responded well with them playing physical against us. Right from the tip, Evan Fournier tried to go to the basket, and they were on his hip, riding him, and he got to the basket but missed the layup. And I feel like they thought that they could out-physical us. And there's going to be teams out there that's more physical than Orlando that see it and say, we can out-physical these guys. I'm concerned about that a little bit.
We don't have goons. That's the thing. We don't have goons. Remember, last year in the playoffs against the Hawks came out from game 1. Remember the dirty play by Bogdanovich when he put out his foot? I forgot. I think it was bullet he tripped. Yeah, I mean, we don't have players on our team that play without there's like a sense of like goonishness. I won't say like they don't play without any pride, but we don't have a Solomon Hill. We don't have, like yesterday, Mo Wagner, the 2 games played dirty. Dude is a dirty play. He's a dirty physical play. He ain't that good to me. I don't think he's that good. And yesterday he's hitting people in the face as he's acting like he's going for a rebound and stuff like that. And I think those are the type of things that it gets into another team mentally. All right, the refs are not calling it. This guy's doing it. So now I'm gonna come out on court and push him. And now the refs are going to see it. And it's like, all right, now you're the agitator, despite the fact that Mo Wagner was pulling dirty stuff, or despite the fact that Solomon Hill, Kevin Porter last season, Bogdan. I mean, so we need some goons, man. I'm not saying Elfrid Payne. Hell no. I'm not talking about him. But, some of these guys would come off the bench. Obi Toppin, I mean, I got to see some dirtiness by you, man. You play a little bit too pretty. You like the dunks.
That's not happening.
Hey, bro.
He's too friendly.
Somebody got to do something. This is why
it's not coming from Obi,
right
though.
now.
It's not coming from Obi. It's not coming from Obi.
Okay, it may not be Kemba and IQ. You know, he plays all. It's going to be McBride. Mark my words now.
Okay.
God forbid.
I mean, maybe, but it's definitely not going to be Obi. Obi is too friendly. He's a big dude. He has no lateral quickness. I know, but he's too friendly. Who was the caller that I had said Obi might be bringing cookies to practice? I forgot his name. He said Obi might be bringing cookies to practice. You know,
and Obi he's from Brooklyn too.
Bro, Obi is probably in the locker room right now after practice saying, okay, how are we going to do Secret Santa this year? He is too friendly.
You know who
he is too friendly, and that's cool. It's okay. I'm just saying he's not going to be the guy to do it.
You know who should do it, and he should go to Tibbs and say, "Look, I know I'm out the rotation. I may not get many minutes, but I promise you, I'm going to get 6 of the hardest fouls you've ever seen. I'm going to be dirty for you, and you can give me all the suspensions, fines." Kevin Knox.
He's not going to do it either. He's not doing it.
They got to grow up.
He's friendly too.
You got to grow up.
Like Obi just called Kevin and said, "Hey, Kev, how are we gonna do the Secret Santa?" Like, come on, man. He's probably saying, "What cookies are you bringing to practice? I'll bring the opposite tomorrow."
I'm trying to find a role for somebody. Who do we got in the team? Ty just 35, 36.
We don't have anybody on the team to do that.
We don't have that. The only player that's going to be that kind of guy, and I hate to say it, is Randall. Randall's that dude. Randall's the dude that be pushing people around and kind of start something up in the paint. But he's our best player. He's not
too emotional. He's not the type of dude that if the person's guarding him, he kind of hooks the arm and does like the little slide dirty stuff. He's the type of dude like, I'm an alpha and I'm gonna show everybody. I don't care about fouls. I don't care about the game. I'm gonna show. It's like that's just not. You know what I mean?
In other words, we don't have that player on our roster. Then
we don't.
We just don't have that player.
We don't.
Oh my God! Look, all the young kids who want playing time on the Knicks. I don't know if you probably not listen. Whatever. I would hope you would see your NBA mortality possibly slipping by, and your way to gain value in this league is to play dirty. Like, I don't know the life story of Bruce Bowen. I don't know if Bruce Bowen was always dirty, but maybe he saw in his career like, yeah, this is not going anywhere, and I got to find some value by being dirty. And you end up being a 3-and-D player that people hate to. Yeah, I mean, so when you talk about Knox may never become a great player or a good player.
Knox.
But you step up.
It is not his DNA
in NFL, you do in NFL. If you did a dirty play, they pay for your dinner, right?
I get it. But that ain't like step out. Now let me get to the caller. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Isaiah from Connecticut. Big fan of you guys.
We don't like when people name Isaiah. We don't like when people name Isaiah call in. You know what I mean?
Well, I know the other guy that does the Cooking with Chef Jay guy. He's great, but I swear to God, Sim, stop doing that.
Oh, that is it.
Stop that.
I thought it was somebody else.
Yeah. Go ahead, man. What do you got to say?
So we're talking about like wing defenders right now. We're talking about the wing defenders.
Not even following the show. Calling up. Not even following the show.
First of all, to my defense, when you call, you can't watch YouTube and call at the same time.
Yeah, you can.
So I don't know what.
Actually, you can, but maybe your phone can't. But anyway, go ahead, man. What's up?
No, I said, are we talking about the wing defenders and stuff on the Knicks and everything?
Yeah.
Well, but look, right. The big thing is, and I don't want to harp on. You know, we could have had one of the best young wing defenders on the team. We could have. You know, but he's in Phoenix, just getting paid. But you know, that's a whole different thing. I mean, when it comes to some of these guys, man, we gotta, you know, RJ has to step up. I would love to see Quentin Grimes. I think, you know, I think he could definitely do something. I mean, again, I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but you guys like Davion Mitchell from Baylor. He's doing pretty good, and he's guarding the point guards. So I mean, I think if you put some trust in Quentin Grimes, I think that can help us out a lot with some of our wing defense. And listen, Randall has to step up. You know, Randall has to step up. RJ,
but see,
is doing as best as he can right now.
I think that's the big thing about Randall right now. I think he's trying to step up, but doing it in the wrong way, and we're doing a little bit too much ISO.
Yeah, but Sam, this is one of the big problems I think we talked about during the summertime with him was that I think we said that one of the big things for Randall, and this is what I got from the game last night, is that he has to trust his teammates. This isn't the same team as last year where, you know, it's ISO Randall. You have more talent. This is what we've been harping about all summer when we got Kemba Walker, when we got everyone, that we have the talent. We upgraded 2 positions in that starting lineup. You have to trust your teammates more. I think the big thing that was making me mad yesterday was that we were watching them, and I felt like there was a little bit of cockiness because they blew them out, last game, and that they could just turn it on by doing a couple ISO. I think, honestly, Sam, I think the downfall is when we got up 13. When we got up 13, I really felt like the Knicks said, well, we've seen this picture before. We're up big. They're probably going to give up, and they're going to, they're going to just secede to us. Well, no, that's not the case. This is still a young, hungry team, and I think it proved last night when we got up 13. They just turned it on in the second half, and we were playing catch up ever since. And the ISO is just not going to work this year. It's not going to work. I'll be honest with you. We're going to have a long season if we think Randall is going to ISO everything, or we're not going to pass the ball. Because the whole game, it was really 1 pass, 3, 1 pass, 3. No getting rebounds. To me, there's no excuse on why Cole Anthony had 16 rebounds. To me, that just shows there's no effort. Him getting 16 rebounds, so there was no effort on our guard play. And again, Terrance Ross, he kills the Knicks, but it was just a mess. And we're gonna understand these growing pains. I remember me, you, and Mark were talking about it, that we kind of thought we were gonna give up one of these Orlando games during the season preview of the record. But it's tough.
We'll see how they respond, how they come back against Philadelphia. While I got you on the phone, I'm gonna ask you a question, get your answer, then I'm gonna kick you off and get everybody else. Mitchell Robinson stays on the floor a lot, right? First few games of the season, we've seen him be on the floor and have to be carted off. He came back in each game. He's come back. You know what I mean? But every time he gets on the floor, he's falling. He's hitting the floor. Grabbing his hamstring. Last night he grabbed his knee. Are you concerned that he's going to be able to stay out there the entire season?
I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned. Last night, I'm just, which again, it wasn't this injury wasn't because, again, Jalen Suggs was just running like a chicken with his head cut off and ran into him. But this is just concerning, Sim. It's like, I'm really scared that he's not going to make it to Christmas. The way and like you said, it's each game. Like literally, Sam, it's been each game he's falling on the floor. And trust me, Tuesday's not going to be easy. You're facing arguably, and he is the best big man in the league right now. He's 1A probably with Joker, but you're facing the best big man in the league right now, and it's gonna be tough. So I am concerned, and it's nothing to just say, oh no, it's just a regular bump or nothing like that. This man he keeps falling every time, so I don't know. I'm not gonna keep repeating it because this is my third.
I know. You've been on here for 7 minutes.
Sim, I'm
you've
growing.
been on here for
I'm growing.
7
I'm
minutes.
acknowledging it, man. And I'm growing.
Yeah, but you've been out here for 7 minutes, and you probably said 2 minutes worth of content. Everything else has been repeat.
First of all, no. It was 6 minutes of great content. 1 minute of repeating.
Brother. I appreciate your time, man.
All right, man.
All right, peace. Any concerns? Andy, I'm going to come to you, man. Any concerns? Mitchell Robinson.
Listen, Isaiah said Christmas. He ain't gonna make the Christmas. I'm thinking Thanksgiving. I was thinking Halloween, bro.
It's like 6 days from now. Come on, man.
Yeah, but listen, at this pace, he's gonna have bruised butt, bro, injured from falling down on the court.
Yeah,
he's like literally. But we spoke before the show about this. I think mainly this is about balance, and we were talking about this, last year on Coach's Corner, that he needs to fix that balance. And now with that weight that he gained in the offseason and those legs didn't go with the weight, it's going to be a little bit harder for him. Like we also said, that he has, as a big man, he has that kind of a little bit clumsiness, right? His basketball stances are not perfect. That's due to the balance, but also, to him probably starting to play basketball late in his career, late in his age, right? So, listen, I think he has work to do in that, in that on that balance thing, attributes, and that's going to be a problem. He's a big man, and if he's tripping over, he's going to get injured often.
Yeah. Josh, any thoughts on that?
So yeah, I agree with Andy. I do think that Mitchell Robinson is very, very late as far as his development is concerned. He has developed well, considering everything that, the lack of coaching that he had or whatever, coming through, high school or whatever the case may be. But I think it is the concern whenever he's falling over the floor that often for the amount of weight that he has on his body. Mitchell Robinson is naturally a skinny guy. And, it's going to be, I don't know if he can be able to take too many of those hits and those falls like that. So it's going to be something to see. And I think this is a very important game for him coming up against Joel Embiid. This is the matchup that I kind of think that Knicks fans have been hoping for as far as Mitchell Robinson having that weight on him, being able to defend a bigger guy. I know I've been looking forward to that. So we'll see how he performs. But I do think it is a little bit of a concern having Mitchell Robinson fall over the place like that.
Yeah. Gmo, any thoughts?
So I actually think outside of the one yesterday where, Jalen Suggs, try to take his feet out. But I actually think for the most part, that Mitchell Robinson is falling down now because of trying to nurse that injury, right? Like to brace instead of coming down hard on that foot, because anything that dislodges that fifth metatarsal is just going to re-injure it, right? So like, Tom Thibodeau, he's a football coach. It's like, oh, are you injured? No. Are you hurt? Yeah. All right, you could play. So I think it's more like he's just like, look, give me as many minutes as you can. And obviously Mitch is probably not going to sit there and say, oh, I can't go. I want to play. So I think every time he falls on outside of yesterday, it's kind of like it's actually better for him to just roll over and then get up versus come down on the foot hard and possibly mess up anything. So and the stuff with the balancing, look, it's going to come in the off season, man. He can't do any weight training probably now. And some people are just born with better body balance. If you don't have it, if you're top heavy, you have to try to work on your lower body. But it is what it is with Mitch. But as long as he's falling down to the ground and he's doing it on his own volition and it's not, oh, I'm hurt, and it's like I'm doing it to brace impact, I'm fine with it. And by the way, a goon that we missed, I forgot, and he would actually be a perfect goon because he has like no expression, Jericho Sims. He would be a perfect, and he loves contact.
He could be.
He's literally like Michael Myers. Like he has no feeling, no type of happiness. Like that's a perfect type of player. Come in, 6 hard fouls, good 5 rebounds, come out the game. But
yeah,
it's not I just think is, it is what it is with Mitch. But
yeah, he could be. We'll see what's up with Mitch, man. Hopefully he can. He's been hitting the floor a lot, but I get concerned. I get a little bit scared about it. And we hear Kev in the background making noise as usual. But anyway, hopefully Mitchell Robinson can get his balance. He needs to do some gymnastics, aerobics, something in the off season. Get that balance together. Box, do some karate,
Pilates,
ballet, something. Right? Get that balance together. Kev, Cornerstone Kev, what's popping, man?
So you gonna roll on me after we spent a whole night watching the Knicks game?
Oh, I was getting scared. I was like, Kev, no, you can't say that because that's not true. Okay, you said the whole night watching the Knicks game. I thought you was about to say after we spent the whole night together. I was like, Kev, what are you doing? Anyway, go ahead.
Hey, guys, salute to the chat. Salute to Andy. Salute to Gilmo. Salute to Josh.
Gilmo.
Josh, are you still on the bandwagon of trading RJ Barrett?
Oh,
since you're saying we have no talent?
What?
I'm asking.
How we get
I'm asking because that's what I got from the podcast after the Boston game. That's all I was hearing from you and Nate. That's all I was hearing. Y'all want to get rid of the whole team and just keep Randall. That's what I was hearing.
Oh boy, I don't know where we got into this.
I'm asking. I'm just trying to. I mean, yeah, we lost last night and everything. And I apologize. I'm just getting on. I'm just trying to find out where everybody's mind is. That's all I'm trying to do.
I haven't mentioned this dude's name one time the entire show. One time.
Okay.
Here goes Cornerstone talking about something.
All right, I'm just making sure because you and Nate had their bags packed. Everybody's bags packed except
That's
for
not true.
except for Randall.
Kev, why do you exaggerate? That's such an exaggeration. I've never said anything like.
But you did have their bags packed. You said everybody can go except for Randall. That's what you said.
No, I didn't, Kev. That's not what I said at all. You should go back and look at it and watch it again.
Okay. As Warner Wolf said, let's go back to the videotape, to the audio tape.
Please.
Whatever.
Please do.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, no, what I was going to say was, yeah, we had a hiccup last night. I'm not going to put all the onus on our teammates. I'm going to put it on Tibbs as well, because he's not. If we're supposed to be so much of a deep team, he's not using his personnel. He's not using them at all. And that was one time where he could have went another way and put a Grimes in a something like that. The way Ross was cooking us. So that's all I want to say.
He could have tried it. I mean, he could have tried it. I think he probably thought like the game was in the balance. I think, Tibbs is going to try that when, it's like just really, really nothing at all is working, and it's maybe 6-7 minutes in the fourth quarter and someone's going off, and he might say, okay, let's throw Grimes out there and see if he can shut him down or something like that.
Right.
I get it. I don't think I get it. I get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we're supposed to be one of the deepest teams in the league, you got to use your resources. I mean, we have adequate players now. You got to use them. Got to use them. I'm not saying we're the most talented or anything like that, but we're so deep. You got to use your resources. That's all I got to say, guys. I'm gonna get off. Love y'all. Even you,
Appreciate
Josh.
you, man.
That's all I'm gonna say. Take care, guys. Love you.
All right, Kev. All right. Well, I'm about to get up out of here, though. But before we do, any thoughts on tomorrow night's game against Philadelphia? Andy, I'll start with you.
Listen, like Josh said, the biggest matchup for me is going to be Mitch versus Joel Embiid. I want to see that matchup, how that, Mitch's skill set and his new body is going to go versus Joel. That's probably the thing that I'm most, going to be looking for. Also, as always, team basketball ahead of ISO plays, because I don't think Julius is going to be able to win us a game versus the whole 76ers squad. So he has to use the other options on offense. And listen, on the defensive end, we never know which player from the 76ers after Joel Embiid is gonna, be hot, because they got a couple of guys that can, score from deep, that can go to the hole. So it's gonna be really interesting if it's gonna be Harris, Korkmaz, Seth Curry, whoever. You have several options there as well. So I just hope a guy that we never heard of is gonna have 20 versus us.
Well, I mean, that happens a lot anyway. So, I wouldn't put it past to happen. And Josh?
So, yeah, well, first and foremost, I don't think the most important matchup tomorrow is going to be Joel Embiid versus Mitchell Robinson. I just think it's something that we're all looking forward to because Mitchell Robinson gained the weight. I'm looking at the wing position. I'm looking at RJ Barrett versus Danny Green. Danny Green is a shooter who likes to come off screens, not necessarily the fastest guy. So that might be a little bit of a better matchup for RJ Barrett to defend. But I am looking at that matchup very, very closely. Danny Green can obviously get hot. They still have Seth Curry out there, who I think he scored 24 points in the fourth quarter in one of the last games or whatever the case may be. So he can get hot in no time. And then they have Maxey. Maxey's running the point guard for him. So I'm looking at, just the wings and guards. I think that's going to be the tail of the game tomorrow. And I think Julius Randle and Tobias Harris can actually cancel each other out. But make no mistake about it, Julius Randle is better than Tobias Harris. And I don't agree with what you said earlier, Gamio, about Julius Randle not being one of the best isolation players in basketball. I think when he goes up and he has a favorable matchup, no one's stopping Julius Randle. No one is stopping Julius Randle. I think he's at that level right now. So,
what isolation players in the league? Like,
I think Julius Randle being an all NBA player, when he has a favorable matchup, I think that he's going to win that battle more than 90% of the time. I think he is up there when you talk about players that you can give him. Hold on. Let me finish. I think you can give him the ball and have him score, and I think that that's something favorable for a team. I don't think that Julius Randle is not on a level below those guys, Devin Booker and any of those other guys.
So you said a key word. You said when he has a favorable matchup. Those guys perform when they don't have favorable matchups.
Did Jason Tatum have a favorable matchup over RJ Barrett?
Hold up. Let me finish. First of all, Jason Tatum, you used him one game. You can go back to Jason Tatum when he played against the Pelicans and carried that team. You used him one game, right? And I didn't mention.
We're talking about Julius Randle's last game as well.
Hold up. Excuse me. I didn't mention Jason Tatum. I mentioned guys like Jokic and Booker, right? Booker, night out, may not have favorable matchups, and he's still giving you 27 points efficiently. Jokic, which you put in the chat, you said that he's a one of a kind that you took out of context. And yeah, Jokic, when he doesn't have favorable matchups, is still putting points up there. Giannis, who I am a fan of Giannis because of his physicality, how he's elite in that level. KD, it's to the point where KD, every matchup for him is favorable because he's that good. Julius Randle ain't up there yet. I'm sorry. I know the moves that Julius Randle's going to do. Some of those guys like KD, I could put as much as I want. You can throw anything you want at KD. He's giving you 38. He gave you 38 on 71% shooting yesterday. Julius Randle ain't on that level. So as much as I like Julius Randle, he ain't on the KD level. He's not on the
nobody's on KD's level. But I mean,
but
you might know. Let me ask you this. But let me ask you this.
Isolation.
Let me ask you this. With Julius Randle, right? You might know what he's doing, but can one person stop him from doing what he's doing?
Yes. Bam Adebayo did it last season. Julius Randle won the final shots, took the ball, drove into the baseline on the right, and Bam Adebayo defended.
We're not talking about one play, bro. I mean, Kevin Durant's been blocked before, has he not? Has Kevin Durant not been blocked before?
Oh my God!
No. Seriously though, has Kevin Durant not been blocked?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking consistently. Consistently.
I'll answer your question. Patrick Beverly shut down Kevin Durant one game in that now I'm drawing a blank. Which series was the?
I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is consistently.
Right? He shut down, and then Kevin Durant came back the next day. Are we sitting here?
No, I'm not comparing him. I'm not comparing. No. But see, that's where this is where don't put words in my mouth. I said nobody is on KD's level.
Okay,
I said nobody. But what I'm saying to you is, there one player that you say, oh, he's definitely gonna shut Julius Randle down?
No, there's not one player in the NBA you're going to say that. Not one.
He may not be on the level of KD or Kawhi or even Devin Booker or whatever, but that doesn't mean he's not one of the top guys that can score the basketball. He may not make the best decisions in the world, but we're talking about one-on-one scoring.
So to what you said, elite, right, Josh?
Yeah.
I use him. He said elite, so I'm answering him. You just came in like a tag team partner. I'm answering Josh's. No, he said elite, and he ain't elite in that regard. How do you those guys, and he's not there. So,
I didn't mention KD at all.
All I asked was, is there anyone that's going to shut him down and lock him up where he cannot score the basketball? I don't think so.
Okay, put like this. He
may not score 30 like Kevin Durant's, right? And he's going to have bad games, obviously. But I think most of the time when he has bad games, it's him, not the opposition.
And you also put it like this, like, granted, last season, Julius Randle had an absurd season. When you're talking about the elite of the elites, they've been doing this for 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. We're taking one superlative season by Julius Randle and putting him up there with some of these guys have been doing it for years. That's
so Julius Randle hasn't averaged over 20 points.
He has to give you a few more.
He hasn't averaged over 20 for the last 3 years. He hasn't averaged over 20 for the last 3 years.
Yeah, but
he averaged 20. He averaged 22 before he came to us. Oh, I think it was 22. He went down to 19. Then he averaged 24 last year.
And when Julius Randle was here the first season with Fizzo, right? We averaged like 19 and 10, right? You're putting that production and saying that was elite.
No. What I'm saying to you is because you have elite players who had years who their production was not elite.
Right.
What I'm saying is you have years where, but they might have been elite scorers before that year and after that year, but you have years where they weren't elite at scoring. They didn't shoot a good percentage that year.
Right. I'm not denying that.
But you also have players that right now are in the league who might be an elite scorer and they've been in the league 3 years, 4 years. Zion Williamson, is he an elite scorer?
I'm not mentioning those guys. I literally said guys who had 4, 5, 6, 7.
But what about Zion Williamson? Is he an elite scorer? He's been in the league.
I think he's limited. No, I think he's been in the league a long time. I wouldn't put him up there. Zion Williamson is limited.
Didn't Zion average like 27, 28 last season?
I'm not. I'm not even just going off points. Whatever. I would not put Zion Williamson up there. I'm not.
Okay. All right. I
Zion
mean, I think he did average like 27
play
points.
down low. I would put Julius Randle over Zion Williamson, but I would never put Zion Williamson up there. Y'all
I mean,
trying to
I think that Julius Randle is very. I don't think there's anyone that's going to stop Julius Randle scoring.
If we're not using Julius Randle, KD, you're gonna sit and tell me you're not 10. That Julius Randle is within the top 10 of so-called ISO players in this league.
Does it have to be top 10 to be elite?
Does it have to be top 10?
You have to be top 10? Top 50? I mean, obviously.
Does it have to be top 10? Top 15?
Josh just said that he's in the elite category. So what is elite? That's like top 5.
Is all NBA elite?
You tell me what the elite is.
Does all NBA make you an elite player?
All NBA, hold on. All NBA is not just counting your isolation play, your isolation scoring, right?
But does that make you an elite player?
It makes you an elite player, but Josh said elite ISO players. Wait, hold on.
Hold on, time out. Hold on. Let me explain myself since you keep referencing me, right? When I say elite isolation player, meaning is that no one is going to stop Julius Randle. When Julius Randle has the ball in his hands, more likely than not, Julius Randle will score. You can go to Julius Randle and say, "Go get me a bucket." That's what I'm saying. And you mentioned Nikola Jokic earlier. Jokic is a one-of-a-kind player, like from Europe. Salute to Andy. From Europe, that you can give him the ball and he can be able to make the right decision with it. He can be able to pass. He can be able to rebound. He's literally a freak. You know what I mean? Someone that's
elite. You guys think, okay, I can't use KD. I can't use Jokic. I got to keep going. All
I'm saying is that nobody can stop him from scoring. All I'm saying is he's going to score the basketball against just about anybody. He may not be scoring up there with KD and Paul George. I don't know if I want to say Paul George. KD and Steph Curry and those type of guys, right? He may not be scoring up there with those type of guys. You know what I'm saying? But he's 7th in the league in scoring right now.
Okay, 3 games, right?
Right. Okay, everybody else is at 3 games too.
But the guys
let's see if he continues to do it.
Who has 1, 2, 3? I'm talking about guys who had 5, 6, 7 years.
I get it. But there's also guys in the league. You know, you're saying guys 5, 6, 7 years. There's guys in the league right now who are elite scorers who's been in there 3 years.
Okay, so who are those guys? I'm not using.
I just said Zion Williamson. I think he is an elite scorer. He's averaging 28 points a game.
Hold on, I'm out. But he's trying to prove your point that it doesn't have to be in the league for 6, 7 years.
Right, that's what I'm saying. KD was.
You don't have to be in the league for
Carmelo
6, 7
was
years.
an elite scorer. 3 years in the league, easy. First year in the league. LeBron James.
When you're talking about elite, if you're talking about elite scorers, right? Because 1, 2, 3 years, right? Obviously, the sample size is not large enough. So I'm at least even saying, like, that's why I can't say Zion or say just a name, just saying that John Morant, because, like, bro, they only had 2, 3 years in the league, so I can't use them. I have to use 6, 7, 8 years. I have to use the KDs. Right. I have to use those elite guys, man. Like,
you know what? But you can also so you can look at some guys, right, who are elite on that team. If you're gonna use 7, 8 years, no, ain't no oh my God, because Kevin Love was an elite scorer for the Minnesota Timberwolves until he went to another team, and he played on that team for a very long time as an elite scorer, right?
Okay, Sim, is Dame Lillard an elite scorer, Sim?
Yes.
Do you think that Dame Lillard, if he went to another team, he'd still be doing the same thing?
He may be, yes. But so Kevin Love did not. But he was an elite scorer when he was with Minnesota, and he did it for 5, 6, 7 years. And by your definition,
Kevin Love, right?
By your definition, he would have been an elite scorer because he did it for 5, 6, 7 years. And then when he went to another team, he did not do that. So you can't just say just because it's been 5, 6, 7 years that they did it.
No. That's I use years as one criteria. I said
right. But what I'm saying is, I think you can. What I'm saying is, a guy can be an elite scorer if you see him in 3 years and he's already dropping 25 to 30 points a game. You could probably say, yeah, he's probably an elite scorer, and he's doing it at a high. He's doing it at high efficiency as well. I think you can.
You guys make a list of the top guys in the league, at least top 5, top 7, 10. To say
9 times out of 10, the people that you're talking about are going to be guards and wings. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be at the top of that list because they're going to have the ball in their hands more often. Julius Randle, not being a guard in the wing, Julius Randle can score. Can score the basketball. Hold on. He can't be stopped.
What is an elite usage in the league?
You tell me.
Percentage-wise.
Wow.
For those guards,
tell me.
All I'm
You tell
saying,
me.
I'm heading out of here.
If you're gonna use that stat, because you said guards and wings, Julius Randle had a usage percentage of 29% last season, right? That's an elite usage. So that's the same thing that guards and wings are getting. So if y'all want to say, hey, Julius Randle had 23% usage and he had those numbers, that'd be out of your mata for him to do that. He got just as much as some of these other guys. So let's not use usage as he got a lot. He was the main last season.
He did. He got a lot of usage and he produced in that usage.
Exactly.
He produced in that usage.
No. That's not the point. Sim, how are you doing that? That's not the point Josh was making. Josh was trying to make it seem like Julius Randle does not get as much usage as guards and wings because they naturally get the ball out. I'm saying Julius Randle last season got the ball just.
What I'm saying is, for it to be a guard and wing league, Julius Randle's producing at the power forward position. There's not too many in the NBA that's doing it. No one is stopping Julius Randle. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
I mean, Julius Randle may not be the best decision maker, but when it comes to one-on-one scoring, I think he can score.
Bro, he had the ball. Like literally, our option was Julius Randle, and Rose and RJ last season. Like Julius, if Julius Randle was on, say, give me the Heat. Say you trade Julius Randle for Julius Randle's production probably is not as high or so-called is not going to be there because you're taking the ball out of Julius Randle's hand. You have the talent around him. Last season, you had to put in his hand, and he had a great season. I'm not taking. He was proficient, which is efficient with volume. He was great. But to say that he's elite with some of these other guys, and then it's KD, it's KD. Well, you're comparing the elites to the elites. Steph Curry. Are we putting Julius Randle up there with Steph Curry? Hold on.
He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. I'm sure he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. He still is a guy that I believe cannot stop. You can't stop him from scoring. He still is a guy that I believe you cannot stop him from scoring. He gets the ball in his spots. He can score the ball. More than not, it is him. It is him stopping himself.
I'm not saying Julius Randle is not a good player.
I'm not saying that. I know you're not saying that. What I'm saying is, I don't think there's anyone that's going to stop him from scoring. More than not, is Julius Randle stopping himself.
What? But from taking bad shots? That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
No. There's plenty of guys who are elite who take bad shots too. Damian Lillard takes terrible shots sometimes. He takes terrible shots and he's still one of the best scorers. He takes terrible shots.
If you're an elite player, y'all using one season with Julius Randle. What was his efficiencies his first year here with the Knicks?
What was his efficiency before that?
Not his first year with the Knicks was not good.
No, what was it before the Knicks? Before the Knicks, what was it before that?
What was he doing with the Pelicans, Sim?
What was his efficiency? Because you got some guys who are elite scorers who play for bad teams. I don't even want to hear that. What was his efficiency? That's what you asked for.
Julius Randle was always elite. Now Julius Randle's an elite player.
No, that's crazy because go back and look at his numbers on the Pelicans.
Okay,
go back and look at it. Go back and look at it. He was very efficient from the field. He was more efficient from the field with the Pelicans than he was last year. Except for three-point shooting. But from the field, he was more efficient.
Yeah, from the field, because he stayed mostly down low, Sim. Okay. He still shot poorly from outside. He shot 35% that year. He shot 34%. That's below average.
It's not. Who said it was elite? Who said it? Elite players that shit. No. Go check, Guillermo. Go check some of your elite players and see what they shoot from three. Go check them and see what they shoot from three. Go check them. I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Oh my
and BK. Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.